So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Oscar White Tech Info. Today I would like to show you guys a little bit. Uh, there is this application that I actually stumbled on called MongoDB, and it's got an intuitive user interface which is called HeidiSQL. And you can see here, HeidiSQL it's got a firebase. You can actually modify it, the way you want to have it look like, the look and feel of the application, basically. So, due to the fact that I actually I love having dark themes, I decided to go for the dark theme. But now, initially, after having installed the application, when you click on the start icon, you get a user interface like this. Now, I've already made some changes. Normally, it will come up with like a default setup there, which you need to rename. You can just right click it and then you rename the application. And yeah, during the installation process, you have to set up a password for the root, which I did. So if I log in now with the password of my root, you see that it takes me into the application. So now this is MongoDB. It comes with default databases already installed there for you. I've been using Chinook database recently, which is a relational database actually uh, geared towards educational purposes. And if I can say expand it, you see that it's got loads of tables there, which you can actually use to practice, getting used to queries and, knowing how to use a database system, you know, as a cybersecurity analyst, uh, you do or we do use this in our profession a lot, where we need to query certain log files, to find out information, you know, uh, different informations that are required, to make sure that we enhance the security of any company that we work for, basically. Yeah. So as you can see here, you've got the top menu there, which is actually really, really nicely displayed. Uh, so if you want to do some modifications, you go into the tools menu or the tools option in the menu bar, and then you've got the preferences. Now within the preferences window, you will be able to make some modifications. Like you've got the command line program, custom snippets directory where you want them to be. If say you're doing some custom snippets, application language, you can actually change it. Mine is actually set to the default language of my operation of my machine. So you've got the GUI fonts. You can actually make some modifications there if you want. So if I go to the drop down, you see you've got different kind of fonts there which you can actually choose. I left mine to default, which actually inherits or mimics that of my machine or the operation system as well. And then I actually selected my theme. Now I selected the Windows 10 DAC because I love the DAC theme due to I'm light sensitive, so the DAC theme actually works better for me. And then you can actually change the icons. So you see we've got here icon. If I select that and I click on apply, you see that the icons actually changed at the top. But I actually went for the silk icon. So you can see if I apply again, now it changes and goes back to that of my preference, right? So if I click on OK, so basically this is my database. Now, what I did is the Chinook database is actually powered by GitHub. So I went to GitHub, and there you have the uh, um, the query that you can use and generate the database, all its tables, all its dependencies and relations and things like that, and it will input enough data there which you can use. The Chinook database is actually geared for educational purposes. So Yeah, people use them a lot. When you do some courses online, to actually refer to the Chinooka database, or there are many databases out there. But I really love the Chinooka database because it's actually educational purpose related. Uh, yeah, so now let's dive into the application itself. There is not much to say about it. If you're familiar to the Microsoft Essence MS, which is actually the user interface for SQL. It's something similar, but this is a lightweight application basically. It's not so heavy like the Microsoft SQL application, SQL application basically. Yeah. So now I've got the Chinook database, and you can see within the Chinook database that we've got quite a few tables there, and there is a lot of information in there. You can see the size of the database is 2.1 MB. Um, so going now to view information which is within that database, what you basically do is when we click that database, you see it shows us all the tables here on the right hand side. But that's not what we want to do. Again, it displays the database, shows you all the rows that are available in there, shows you the size of all the tables, shows you when it was created, when it was updated, the engine which is actually used to run, and then you've got the type, so it tells you that these are actually tables basically, right? So now if we want to run a query, we have this option here. So we can see here it shows us the host. Now the host actually displays all the information that we've got here on the left hand side, which shows us all the databases we've got in there. Now within the host, we can actually look at the different variables within the databases. We can look at the status. Yeah, so if I expand that a little bit, you can see we've got the status there, and then it shows you the different processes, and then it shows you the different command status, right? So, but that's not what we want to look at right now. We want to look at a database, and so we go into the query section. Now, when you click on the query tab, what the query tab actually does is it gives you three sections. Now, it gives you a section where you can actually type in your query. It shows you a section where you can actually filter. So if I click on the filter here, this will take a while because the database is quite big. So it will take a while, to expand all the areas where you can actually right click and run a query similar to what you do in SSMS. Here we've got the results that has been actually, we've queried the database. So we've told the database that we wanted to select information, and then we give it a star, which is like, now we've not put any condition in there. We want everything which is within that employee table, right? So select is telling the command is telling the query is actually telling the database that we want to select information. Every information of employees within the employee table. So now we've got that there. So we can actually modify that, and then we say, okay, right, well, let's look at all the tables that we've got. We've got album. So let's look at the album table and see what information we've got in there. Now, there is, you can, if you're quite good at keyboards, there are options here. So you can run, which is an F9, or you can select uh, uh, a statement that you've actually written in there, or a query that you've actually written in there and run, or you can run uh, uh, the current query. So if you run that, so you see that we've got here, it goes and then it displays all the information within the album table. Again, going back here, Shift Control F9 runs the current query. You can select, so if I select this guy, you see that that guy will be highlighted and it will give us the option to run it, or it will enable the run process, which is again Control F9. Or if you do want to run a single query which you've got within the query section, you can do an F9 basically. Yeah, so that's how it works. Now, just to show you a little bit of tricks and tips again, I have actually created two queries here, which I would then copy and paste in here just to facilitate things. So you see this query actually tells us that we want to select star from invoice. So we want to look at the invoices. However, what do we want to do? We've told the system that we want to look at table which has got invoices, right? But now, where are those invoices? Now we give it a condition basically. So the where clause is giving it a condition. So we want to look at the invoice dates which are greater than or equal to the first of the first 2022. So now if we select this guy and then we go there, we can actually do it from here. We select it and then we go here and do run selected, or we can actually select it, right click and then run selected. So as you can see here, the output gives us invoices which are within that date, which are greater than or equal to that particular date range. So if you can see here, we got invoices for 2022, right? I mean, it's quite SQL is quite. I mean, if you are quite familiar or if you get familiar with the queries, you can actually do a lot with with a database. You can actually query a lot of information. Again, my job is actually doing penetration testing and things like that, within cybersecurity. So when you do that, I mean, when you have such a, and we work with Linux application systems and databases, so we have loads of log files that we have to go through. So if you want to say query a system to know what system operation, what user uh, 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 user machines require an update for a certain period, you can actually, um, create your query, and then set your argument to make sure that it displays just machines that require updates for that particular period, or for users, or if, say, for example, there was a vulnerability and you wanted to trace out which department and what user machine was actually attacked, basically. So you can actually do this when you've got a huge system, and then rather than going through log files. And yeah, so again, now what we're trying to do here is we want to look at, now we're telling the system that we want to select the first name and last name, the date of hire from the employee table, yeah, within the database, where the hire date is between that and that. Yeah. So if we run this query now, if we run this query, we will see that we've got a different output. So basically, it actually gives us this data, right? So if, say, for example, I decided to change this to 2020, I'm not very sure if there is information there for 2024. It might be more. It might give us more data. All right. So we see we haven't got any 2024 in there. Yeah. So let me say if I put it 2000 and see if we've got employees who were hired within 2000, and then I stop this at 2000, and then I reduce this date to 2004. Let's see what it's going to give us. So basically, it's just, you know, the more you use it, the more you get used to the application. So you see all the outputs are there. It then tells you here at the bottom, what you've actually done. Yeah, shows you exactly shows the amount of affected rows, found rows, if there were any warnings, duration for one query, which is just 0 seconds basically, so it didn't do a lot. So this is, to be honest, a fantastic tool, right? Yeah, I recommend it for anybody, and yeah, if you maybe play around and then you find anything that you think that we can actually talk about, yeah, don't hesitate to leave me a message. Thank you again, Oski Boys Tech Info. Thank you very much.